Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the webinar. Today, we will have a webinar titled "How to Develop a Successful Social Media Strategy for Your Startup." And today, we will have as a moderator Teresa Gonzalez Garcia. She's a program officer from the Young America's Business Trust. And a few words before we begin, I just wanted to give you some background on Teresa's professional career. She has more than 10 years of experience in the social entrepreneurship sector. She has a master in cultural engineering and earned a bachelor in communication sciences. She recently joined Young America's Business Trust as a program officer, and prior to joining YBT, she served at the United Nations Foundation in the Public Affairs team as an Atlas Corps Fellow. She's co-founder of Leader of Light Mexico, Leader of Light Spain, and was part of the international team that incubated and launched Leader of Light in India. She also co-founded Coelit Foundation in Mexico, and she has worked in the United States, Mexico, Spain, and India in several social impact programs in conjunction with public institutions and private sectors and other NGOs. So without further ado, I would like to not only welcome the REACH competition finalists, the Caribbean Innovation Competition powered by the REACH project. We thank you for being here today, and we hope that this webinar will be of great assistance not only to your development professionally, but also for your development in the TIC Americas and CIC finals, the activities to take place in the Dominican Republic. So thank you so much, and Teresa, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Jose. Sorry for the technical difficulties. This is Tere. Very nice to be with you all today, sharing some of the experiences on how to develop a successful social media strategy for your startup. So that's a lot of content, so let's get started. First, I wanted to share with you a few thoughts on the strategy. This is the core of our social media messages, content, audience, everything has to do with our strategy. As you may know already from the business plans or by being at school, doing a research project, everything needs to have a strategy that is based on objectives, clear objectives, goals on how social media can help achieve what you want to achieve. If you want to gain followers, if you are looking for investors, if you're looking even, for example, to fulfill a vacancy within your team, social media can help you. But you need to have this in your objectives. You need to do a lot of handwork and research to be able to build a real and effective strategy. Also, something that you need to consider, a target audience. This is also key when we are building our social media strategy. Before choosing which social media profile or platform we are going to create or use, is key to know our target audience. I wanted to share with you this idea, YA this is a term that I find very useful. It's a good reminder. It means, it is an acronym, and it means you are not your audience. So this means, for example, if we are developing a project within the green economy, we're probably believers in the environment and all the topics around it, or we are fighting climate change, or we are really keen on recycling or reusing materials. But that doesn't mean that we know everything about our audience. Perhaps we are part of it, but we don't know everything about them. So even if you are an expert, or yourself, you're a member of this community, you need to do research. You need to get to know your audience better. Target audience means the people that you want to reach with your messages. Then on this strategy, after doing this research and defining objectives, we will need to define and decide on a style and tone of our language. So we can have a very friendly language, perhaps if we are a startup reaching young people, but perhaps if we are trying to reach a scientific community or an industry, we'll need to use a more formal language, and as well like more specific terms for the atmosphere that we are trying to create. So this brings us to consistency. Consistency means only to have congruence and to have a clear narrative and to have all our messages, all our content connected around topics, around priorities. So now we can talk about social networks. We need to choose the right mix. It's not about joining every single social media that is out there. We need to choose the right mix so we can really reach the audience that we defined before in our strategy. I know it's very tempting to join every single social media, but it's not what I would recommend the most. Let's remember that strategy comes first. So for example, youth is very active right now on Snapchat or Periscope or Meerkat, things like that, that are very fast-paced. In an instant, your message is gone. So that responds to needs and interests of this particular group of people, which are teens. But perhaps if we are targeting an older group, like perhaps in their 30s, they are probably on Facebook. A social network that I really like, for example, is Twitter. I think it is reaching most of the age groups because of this short messaging, but also friendly and fast-paced, but not so fast as Snapchat. Your tweet stays there and you can really track it. It doesn't disappear. Facebook perhaps requires more of your time, or a blog, for example. Instagram, it depends on what you want to use. You can use images, you can use videos. It really depends on what your project or startup can reflect and wants to reflect, and the possibilities that you have. So I wanted to go a little bit deeper on these different social medias. I won't stop a lot of time here because you're probably users, so you know better than anyone how this works. But some of these characteristics might be useful for you to decide and think about your project. Let's start with Pinterest. This site is about discovering. So users join here to collect links, images about new things that they are looking for, probably their hobbies. So you should consider this if your project is connected, for example, to recipes, if it has something to do with food security, for example, or food access. Perhaps you want to be a little bit creative and post some recipes, or if you're working with organic food, this might be something that you can explore. If you are working in the creative industries like fashion, could be also useful. It's very visual. And also something interesting here, you'll see that the demographics are mainly female. 68% of the Pinterest users are female, 32% male. So if your project is, for example, handcraft made by women in Bolivia, perhaps Pinterest would be a good place to showcase it. In the bottom, you'll see the active users that each social network has. In the case of Pinterest, it's 70 million users. So that's something to take into account, definitely. Twitter, probably most of you know it, is a microblogging social site. 140 characters. So that is limiting us a lot in terms of the content. The good thing is we can add links, we can add pictures, and it's like a very, very wide network with a really high penetration rate. In the US, it is very, very popular, but it is gaining many, many followers as well in Latin America and the Caribbean, which is the region that we are targeting in this competition, and probably most of our projects are reaching here. So Twitter is definitely something to consider. It's very versatile. I think the use of Twitter chats and polls as well are really popular on Twitter. So it's something that I would recommend. Also, this is an interesting number. 5,700 tweets happen every second. So we are competing with a lot of content, not only in this platform, but also in the others. So we need to consider that our content needs to be appealing, needs to be attractive for our users. If not, they have another 1,000 tweets to read if your content is not very catchy. The users here are way more spread, 560 million active users. Facebook, also one of the most popular, 1 billion active users, and also 2.5 billion pieces of content every day. Something that I want to highlight is, of course, any of these social networks that you choose need to be fed all the time. They need content. They're a big monster, and as you grow in following, you'll need to grow in content sharing. So it's something really to consider. You don't, as I said before, you don't need to be in all of them. Well, choose according to your audience, because social media takes time. Seems easy because we do it every day, but it's not the same having a personal profile than managing an organization or a startup profile. It takes a lot of time. You need to do research on the content, and also being very aware of the trends and monitor and evaluate all the time. So we can explore a little bit of Instagram. As you know, those are pictures and videos, now 15-second videos. Before it was 6 seconds. And Instagram is the hashtag king. All the topics and everything you can track on Instagram is through a hashtag. So that's a very interesting model. For those who don't know what a hashtag is a label that you can add to your content so it can be tracked afterwards. For example, if you use the hashtag CIC or the hashtag green economy or the hashtag social good, and you add it to your content, you'll be able to see your voice and how it figures in a global conversation, and also who's talking about that topic. So I would recommend the use of hashtags, but don't abuse them. They are, we need to choose well as well. Where do we want to appear? Once it's out, that content is going to be online forever. Even if we delete it, let's be honest, it's going to be somewhere saved. So be very conscious about what you post and the hashtags you use. 150 million users, that's also something very attractive. Well, we have also Google Plus, that personally is not my favorite, because I think the reach and the depth of the content gets lost when it competes with the other platforms. But definitely check it out. If you think it's worth and your audience is active on it, definitely you should join. LinkedIn is more business oriented, as this infographic is saying. Also an interesting number, 79% of the users are 35 years or older. So again, target audience. Who do you want to reach? Perhaps LinkedIn is a good place for you to connect your startup with other startups, but also with potential allies, investors, etc. So definitely I would recommend a LinkedIn profile if you'll be able to be active on it and to feed content to it. We've been talking a lot about content, but we're going to go deeper on this topic. First advice, be creative. That's, I don't need to explain a lot on that. We all are social media users, so being creative implies to do research and to be updated, to be aware of the trends, and also to look what others are doing. That's one of the benefits of the online world and the hashtag world and the social media world. Everything is public. You can check on everything, and there are like Creative Commons license where you can download content, templates, and as long as you credit the author, you can use their articles, their apps, and everything you need for free as long as you credit them. So you can be as creative as you want using the many resources that the online world is offering. We need also to create a narrative. This has to do with the consistency point that we touched on before. We need to have a congruent messaging and also a correct language, something that fits our cultural organization's culture, our startup's culture. If it's something very dynamic for youth, perhaps writing an article of 3,000 words won't be the ideal. It can be. Everything depends on our target audience. But be consistent. Tell the story. You need to tell the story in many different ways, but there should be a net connecting all of it, a link connecting all of it. For this purpose, creating an editorial calendar will be very useful. The editorial calendar means a document where you are going to write down what you want to talk about. Perhaps you want to have a different topic every month. Perhaps you want to follow the UN international days. You want to link on a specific month, for example, to Earth Day, or you want to link your content to the Peacekeeping Day. So you should definitely keep an eye on what's happening out there, so you can also fit your editorial calendar with that. Quality over quantity. Social media requires a lot of attention, but also over-posting can be prejudicial. So be sure that you measure your audience, that you are monitoring how they are reacting, to see if perhaps too many tweets per day are causing your followers to unfollow you, or perhaps it's a very eager audience and they are wanting a lot of tweets. So you should definitely measure what's happening out there with your community. Another recommendation, join conversations. It's better to join and to connect and engage with others than just posting and putting out content all the time. It's good to have a voice, it's good to put out your content, but the most important thing about social media is conversation, is community, and we'll talk about this point afterwards. I already mentioned the hashtags, but just a reminder, these are key. If you don't use hashtags, you won't appear in global conversations or regional or country conversations. If you want to differentiate yourself or your event, for example, from others, having a hashtag for yourself would be useful. That way you can track whatever you have posted before. Campaigns, chats, polls, social media events like Twitter parties, social media campaign across different platforms. The Twitter polls are also very useful to measure your audience. For example, if you are launching an app, you perhaps want to ask your audience what features would they like. Maybe you want to ask them if they want a built-in chat, if they want a space to post pictures, if they want a profile so other users can know who they are. You can put this on a poll on Twitter, for example. This is a kind of recent feature, so you can post there. What would you prefer? Built-in chat and the 3 options that I mentioned, and they will be able, during a certain period of time, to give you input, and you'll have some answers. That's also a very friendly way to obtain information without a lot of effort. I also would like to recommend, in case that you are launching, that you are promoting, creating a fundraising campaign, you want just to spread the word about your startup, the social media toolkits or engagement toolkits are a very useful resource, not only for you, but for your audience. If you want them to spread the word about you, you need to provide some tools and guidance so they can talk about you in the right way and in the way that is most profitable for you. So I want to show you an example. This is a very recent one. It's actually from a conference that just finished in Denmark. Just finished today. It's a Women Deliver conference, and this is, of course, a women and girls focused event. And they uploaded this toolkit for everyone that was interested in the topic to download. So here they provided a quick overview of what they are doing. As I mentioned, the hashtag is key. So here is like in very big letters. They are providing the website and the key resources. So perhaps this is something you want to develop. It's going to be very useful for every single initiative that you want to put out there in social media. So you are providing them with the websites, you are providing them with the hashtag, even with secondary hashtags. So for example, this conference was about women, but some related hashtags and topics could be the global goals, the sustainable development goals, maternal health, reproductive health, youth, investing in girls, investing in women, girls can, or gender equality, etc. So you'll always have your main hashtag, but also secondary topics that would be related, and it's recommendable to use it. An advice, don't overuse hashtags. A post full of hashtags sometimes is not clear. It's good to appear in conversation, but just choose well, choose the right mix of topics that you want to engage with. They are also sharing here graphics. So you can create some images. They don't have to be many, perhaps 2 or a banner, depending on what you want. If it's a very visual startup or the work that you're doing produces a lot of images, like you should definitely leverage that in your social media graphics. Here they are offering these images for free download, so people can share them in their tweets, in their blogs, in their Facebook posts, LinkedIn. And also they are here suggesting for the different platforms a few messages. So they already did the work for you. They already made sure that this tweet, for example, is 140 characters. It has a hashtag and it is saying the keywords and the key topics. So you can easily just copy paste it, because that's what these social media toolkits are meant for. You'll copy the message, you'll put it in your social media and hit publish or send. So you are making them easy to talk about you. This takes a lot of work, but it's completely worth it. Other suggested posts, for example, for Facebook. On Facebook, we can use more text, perhaps share a video, perhaps an image or a link. So it should be tailored to every social media platform, but also to your audience. Don't forget about that. Even if they are suggesting these posts on the social media toolkit, your audience can easily tailor them to what they are doing and change a little bit of the wording, but you're already giving them the basics. And this helps for your message to have consistency out there, even if others are talking about you. And then just get in touch. Let them know what your social media handles are. Sometimes there are mock accounts, there are fake accounts, especially if you are having a lot of traction, or maybe your name is similar to another organization. Just make it easy for them to find you. Let them know what's your handle so they can do it. Email or whatever information you want to share. So this is an example of an engagement toolkit that I really liked, but there are many out there. You should have a look, and it doesn't have to be as long as this. If you are doing something simple, it is enough with a paragraph explaining what your event is about and a couple sample posts for the platforms that you want to engage with. Let's continue here. Community. This is a key topic. It may sound obvious, but it is an art. So first, we need to listen what the community that moves around our social media platforms are saying. Then reply. If you are receiving comments, if you are receiving messages, either private or public, reply. Because if not, it's very easy to call you out on social media. So you want to have a good reputation on social media. And that's an everyday work, everyday content, everyday engagement. Also, influencers. These are key to build our following and also to engage with the experts and the key voices on the topics that we are working on and that we are interested in. An influencer can be a celebrity, it can be a blogger, it can be a YouTuber, it can be a leader like Malala, for example, or an indigenous leader in your community that has a social feed, even someone that won an award. So you should do research on who are the leading voices on that. And that could be really helpful to build lists. Build a list of the people that can help you put the word out. So for example, these influencers, one of the virtues that social media is giving us is that we can connect with them in a very easy way. Or you can become an expert, you can become a leader. So through a list, for example, a Twitter list, we can have in the same group different influencers and track what they are saying. And I would recommend you to monitor that conversation and their own conversations in a regular basis. But having them on a list will be really, really helpful. And also people that visit your profile and that follow you will know that you are aware of what's happening. Like, no one is telling you the story. Like, you are in the center of the story. It's also good to create habits. So your community can look up to you in some ways. So for example, Mondays, you are going to post the question of the week. For this, your editorial calendar is going to be key. For example, as I said, Mondays, question of the week. Tuesdays of pictures. Wednesdays of storytelling. Thursdays of news. And Fridays of Twitter chats, for example. I recommend to have many of these, but be consistent. If you cannot have a regular activity or a regular content every single day or a special for every day, at least have one per week. The question of the week is something very easy to do. And that way you keep the conversation going and you engage your audience. So think about ways that can get some traction, that could bring you more following, but also more conversation. And something really important as well, connect with other communities. It's not about you just putting information out, but also to connect with other groups that are doing perhaps similar things or that can complete the puzzle of what you're doing. So don't forget. Measure. Metrics. They're a very important piece of the social media world, especially if you are trying to do them professionally. One thing is to build up the content and share it and have good following and replies, but also one important piece is the reach. So who are we reaching? How many people? Where are they? The second is engagement. So we reach, let's say, 1,000 people, but how many of those 1,000 people really clicked on our link or saw our picture or clicked on our video to watch it? It's a very different type of engagement. One thing is that the message popped up in their screens, but another very different thing is that they engaged with that content. I'm going to show you some tools afterwards so you can find some numbers on this, but just keep this in the back of your mind. Following, of course, that's the most easy number and the one that many people are interested in, but it's not the only one. How many people are following you in the different platforms? And then it's good to share the results. So for example, if you got a very nice Facebook post, like share it with them, like, hey, this was our favorite Facebook post of the month, or our favorite tweet of the week, or our audience really loved this content. In case you missed it, here it is again. So share the results. If you reach 5,000 followers on Pinterest, like announce it and share it with them. That also keeps the ball rolling. Then it's very important to rethink. In social media, everything is fast-paced. Every day we have a new app, we have a new platform, we have a new social media, and content, as you saw before, is always changing, and it won't stop. It just grows. So we need to evaluate what we're doing. And then if we find that something perhaps is not working, perhaps our audience is a very young one and they don't like extra long texts, for example, or articles, perhaps you should consider to share smaller blog posts, or to share more images or a catchy title so you can make them go to our website. So we need to be all the time adjusting. This is a constant job, and don't feel bad if you see that one of your posts didn't get any traction, any replies, any retweets. It doesn't matter. Like, it takes a while to build an engaged audience, and also is a consistent work. We need to be very persistent. Also, I would like to advise to follow the trends. Sometimes we have very strange trends, trending topics of the day. Someone made a good speech, or perhaps there was a terrorist attack, or perhaps like there are always things happening in the world. Perhaps, I don't know, Britney released a new album and that's a trending topic of the day. Not all of them will be easily, they won't be easy to connect with your topic or with your startup, with the work you do, but try to have smart communications. Perhaps there's a creative way that you can connect with the trending topics through a hashtag or through your content. Try to have a look every day or at least once a week to the trending topics and find a way to connect it. Perhaps if it was Earth Day and the hashtag Earth Day was a trending topic on Twitter, and you are working on pet recycling, you can definitely connect to that trend. I know sometimes it's not easy. It doesn't mean you have to connect with every single trending topic. Some of them, I wouldn't recommend them at all, but it's something to have on your mind. Then experiment. Social media world is about experimenting. It's okay to fail, and it's even better to try again. So don't be afraid to try something new, to try a tool. If you make a mistake, you can just clarify and apologize if that's the case. But it's okay to try, rethink, and constantly evaluate. Now, this is the funniest part. I want to share with you some tools that I think you'll find very, very useful to start a social media strategy for your startups. Or maybe if you already have one, perhaps you don't know these tools and they can really help you to take the next step. So first, I want to show you a couple of tools on management. Management means your content, means how often you are going to put your content, when, at what time, and how you're going to target it. So this tool, Hootsuite, this is our dashboard. This tool is also going to help you schedule your tweets. So that way, if you want an image for Instagram to go out at 3 a.m. for some reason, you don't need to be awake at 3 a.m. to post it. This tool will do it for you, and you can schedule it here. This tool is free, so it's something that you should really try. So we can draft a tweet, for example. I select here the social network that I want to use, and we can say live now from the social media. We're going to make this a hashtag because this is the topic that we're talking about, and we want people to know that we're talking about this. Live now from the social media webinar for Take Americas and Eco Challenge finalists. Learn more at, for example, ybt.net. So here we could attach an image if we wanted to, or even a YouTube video. And here in this little calendar, we can tell this tool when to post it. So we're going to choose today, but you could choose any month. If you want to schedule all your tweets until the end of the millennium, you can do it. But we're going to choose May 19th, and right now is 2:38. So we are going to tell Hootsuite to post for us at 2:40 p.m. and we'll say schedule. As you'll see, the column in the center is our scheduled tweets. So now this appears here. If I happen to make a mistake, I can choose edit and change something in the text if I need to. But this should definitely help you. I would recommend, for example, in the case of Twitter, to schedule at least 3 tweets per day, at least during weekdays, to keep the conversation alive. Twitter is a fast-paced network, but perhaps a couple of Facebook posts would be accurate if you are starting. Maybe 2 Instagram images if you are on that network, but again, consider where your target audience is. If you have people between 40 and 60 years old, I bet they are not going to be on Snapchat, for example. Maybe they will be, but it's not the most common. So again, the importance of doing research about your audience. I want to show you similar. Well, Tweetdeck is a very similar tool. Similar to Hootsuite, you can schedule. This is only for Twitter, and Hootsuite allows us to post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I think Pinterest. So you should definitely have a look If you are, as you can see here, on Hootsuite, you can schedule at, for example, 1:05, 1:10, 1:15, 1:20. It's going on sets of every 5 minutes. But Tweetdeck allows you to program every minute. So if you're doing a campaign, for example, to post an image every minute during an hour, you'll need a tool that allows you to program every single minute. So Tweetdeck would allow you that. It depends on what you need, but you should definitely check out these tools and play with them. It takes a little while to get familiar, and don't be scared to post. You can even tell them like, hey, we're trying Hootsuite, please don't mind any crazy stuff that is coming out on our accounts. And that also like makes some of the fun for your audience. Metrics. We spoke about measuring, and Twitter and Facebook have built-in analytics, and you can really, let's see if I can show you here. You can see in an in-depth X-ray of your messages. You can use the tool they have already developed for you. It's free. And if you go, for example, here on Twitter to analytics, you'll be able to see which was the favorite tweet, or the most retweeted, or the one that got the best performance during that month. You'll be able to see graphics and how each tweet developed and performed. How each tweet performed every day. Once the tweet is out, Twitter Analytics starts measuring. The same for Facebook. Facebook has also very in-depth analytics. It can show you a map. If your followers and the people that engage with your tweets were more keen to engage on a certain day, perhaps because you were announcing something new, so you'll see in the graphic that their engagement goes higher. So definitely take a look on that. You don't need to pay anything. Now we can talk a little bit about tracking. This tool that is called Keyhole is a paid tool, but you can also use it for free with some limitations, and they also have a free trial. If you're using a hashtag for your project, or your competition, in this case, for example, CIC, we could track that hashtag and see how it is doing and a few numbers. So let's try CIC. The limitations of the free version is that Keyhole will be able to measure up to 500 tweets, but not more. If you join their paid program, you can access to all of the tweets and measure each one of them. But I think the free tool is definitely something to check out and to try. Let's see what we have here. So we're measuring and tracking the CIC hashtag. Here it is telling us how many posts are out there with the CIC hashtag, how many users, how many people it has reached, how many screens it has touched, with the impressions, how many impressions. So, sorry, I think that was confusing. The reach means how many people it touched, and impressions means how many screens it touched. So it's not the same, because sometimes we are on different and the message will appear on our screen, but that can be the same person as well. Sometimes we have 2 phones or 3, so there's a difference there. Here you'll see in the timeline how did the hashtag behave. So you can see the different engagement rates. For example, on May 11th, we reached the highest point with the CIC, your competition hashtag. But we had a lower spot, let's see, here on May 12th. For some reason, sometimes we announce the finalists, so of course that's going to have a bigger and a larger traction. Some other days are slower. It depends on what you are posting, but it's very good to have a look at this. So, for example, if you create a habit of having a question of the week for your startup, on Mondays, you'll probably see that every Monday this graphic gets higher. But perhaps if you never post on Fridays, you'll see that it goes down. Here you can also track the top posts, the ones that got more likes or retweets, depending on the platform that you're using. And you can also see the most recent ones. Also, it is 2:46, so check out Twitter. Our tweet, the one that we made before, might be out there already. So you can see that Hootsuite really works. You can also see here the top sites that are bringing you traffic for that hashtag. So most of the traffic comes from Twitter, from Bitly, from Facebook, Instagram, from Google. You can also have a look of how the content is being shared. So on this case, 58% of the content are original posts. Also, here you'll see how many retweets, how many replies. I would say this is a very healthy graphic. I think you should always try to keep at least 50-50, 50% of original content and 50% of retweets and replies. Of course, the more replies you get from your audience, the best. But some accounts, for example, have a ton of retweets but never have original content, or just once in a while. But we should balance that. At least 50-50 is a healthy way to do it. You'll also be able to see the most influential users that are using that hashtag. Perhaps one of these is you, that is participating in the competition, and you've been posting a lot about it in different platforms. And also here you'll see the recent users. So it's good to know who's talking about you and what they are saying. Then, if we scroll down, we'll see this map. The location map is also very useful. You'll see which countries has your hashtag, the one that we are doing research on, hit. So for example, let's see, Brazil. The CIC hashtag reached 4%, Mexico 9%. And you can go like that on every country. Here's the Caribbean, Canada. So you're famous, guys. You're reaching all of these countries. You can see also the demographics according to what people indicated on their profiles, if they are male or female. You can see that in this conversation with the hashtag CIC, 35% of the users were female and 65% male. That's also useful to target better your audience. Then you can see here related hashtags. So the CIC hashtag has been used also in relation to these hashtags. You can track, and that way you can create smart conversations and join conversations and connect with other communities. It's definitely something that you should have a look to. And also the keywords tab gives you different topics and words that are related also to your hashtag. So in this case, CIC is related to the word future, to 2016, to today, shape, ideas, open, happening, school, join, info, etc. So you would also want to have a look to this if you want to have a very, very targeted and tailored conversation with your audience. And here, this is very useful if you are, for example, an app developer, you can see where is your audience coming from, what devices are they using to see this specific content, the CIC hashtag. So 26% of them are using Android in this case, 24% are using iPhone, and this other bigger part, 21% are using computers. So if you are a developer, you'll definitely want to look at this. So Keyhole, I really recommend it. Let's go back. There's another tool. So mapping, Keyhole is already giving us a small map of our followers, but we also want to know here, I'm sorry, Tweets map gives us also the option to schedule tweets, the same as Hootsuite, in case you want to do it here, but I recommend Hootsuite better for that. Tweets map is going to tell you as well what's the best time to tweet today for you, depending on how your audience behaves. Also, what is the best day to tweet this week? As I said, you can schedule. You can see how many followers you're gaining, favorite tweets. And here is the most interesting part for me, the interactive map. You can see the percentage of followers on each country. So if you are trying to target the Caribbean, for example, then and your numbers are low, perhaps you need to study what's happening. Perhaps they are not liking your content, or perhaps there's not internet access, and then maybe you need to use other methods of communication. But here you can see where the YBT followers are, for example. You can focus on this region. So 0.3% come from Puerto Rico, 2.61 from Dominican Republic, from Haiti, a big one, for example, Colombia, etc. You can really have fun with this and explore, and will really give you an interesting data to play with. How many do we have in Australia? Very few. Okay. And just a final recommendation: always stay updated. Social media is changing all the time, every day, every second. So I wanted to recommend you all this blog, the Hootsuite blog. The tool that we explored before has a blog focusing on social media strategy and also on innovation. This is all in English and very accessible and very easy. Sometimes you'll find tools, sometimes you'll find new trends, recommendations, advice, even templates, books to read. So I definitely recommend to have a look. And not only this tool, you can stay updated with so many other tools, platforms that offer you updates on how this world is working. And also, if you are interested and you don't want to spend a ton of money on having a certificate or a degree on social media or marketing, perhaps open platforms like Coursera, the YBT Bootcamp, and others can help you fulfill that goal. So that's our final recommendation. Experiment and also dedicate a lot of time to it. Social media takes time. It's very absorbent. So if you are in a position where you can have a volunteer or hire someone or have someone to help you with that, someone that knows, it's not difficult to learn how to manage these social media platforms, but it takes time, and especially content production. So that would be all from my side. I don't know if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Teresa. As I said before we begin, we will have a short Q&A session. So for that, I would ask you to either type down questions on the questions tab, or you can also push the raised hand button, and I can unmute your microphone so you can go ahead and ask a question to Teresa. So please go ahead and type down your questions or raise the button, the raised hand button. While we wait for the first questions to come in, I just wanted to remind you that this training session is tailor-made for finalists, for the Caribbean Innovation Competition finalists. Also, this is part of the follow-up process we do with the finalists. Once you're part of the Caribbean Innovation Competition, we're not only focused on helping you during the competition, but also after the competition. So these kinds of trainings is something that we will continue to do, the follow-up to the REACH competition or Caribbean Innovation Competition finalists and participants. So I want to start maybe with a question. As the other questions comes in, I want to ask Teresa if the age group, if a particular age group is older than let's say the middle age. So let's say if you want to target someone, an audience between 40 years old and 60 years old, what would be the best social media platform that you would recommend?
Thanks for the question. In this case, like, not everyone from everywhere within this age range, 40 years old or 60, between 40 and 60 years old, they're not the same. So we need to look at the context, we need to look at the reality, but also just at a first look, I would recommend perhaps Facebook. This group tends to be on Facebook more than others. Also, blogging. This is a group that tends, in general terms, to read more. So perhaps a LinkedIn post, a blog post, or a website would be more appealing for them. But you can definitely find surprises. I was mentioning on the last webinar that my almost 80-year-old grandma has Facebook and plays Candy Crush, and she uses WhatsApp and all of that. So you can find surprises. You need to study very well your group, but I would go for Facebook, LinkedIn, blogs at a first sight.
Thank you. Okay, so we're waiting for the next question. Please, you can type down your question right now. It's there's a tab specific for questions. You can go ahead and do the question right there. We're going to wait for a minute while the question comes in. Thank you. Okay, we don't have any questions coming in, so I guess we're gonna have to close the session. This is good news for Teresa, who probably explained everything so well that you guys have everything really clear. Just before we close the session, and just maybe letting a little space for another question to come in before we close, I wanted to remind you about the other different trainings that we have left. As you may know, we've been doing this specific line of training just for finalists, and you have other trainings available online. For that, I'm going to share my screen just for a moment so that I can go ahead and show you the web page. You go to the Reach web page, which is reachcompetition.net. You already know this web page. Once you're in the reachcompetition.net, which is the CIC, the Caribbean Innovation Competition web page, you can go ahead and click on training. When you click on training, you will have the list of the webinars for the finalists. Here you can download the presentations and also view the video of the recordings of the session. So if you missed the session, you can come back here and review the video as well as the presentation. Download the presentation. We've already done a couple of those. As you can see, we have already uploaded the video for the How to Deliver a Winning Pitch. You can also download the presentation that Rafael Pinto did. We will also be uploading this session that we're recording, and that is us PowerPoint presentation, and you will be able to find it here. You will be able to see the video and download the presentation. We're also in the process of uploading a lot of additional videos, training videos that will be of use not only for the finalists but for everyone else. So you'll be able to find that on the same web page on the trainings tab. So there's one more question before we close the session. Manine Marsh asks, at what point should you look into paying for boosting your posts, and what does that budget look like?
Thank you, Manin, for your question. So at what point should you look into paying for boosting your posts, and what does that budget look like? So it really depends on what you want to achieve. At first, if you are in the starting stage, I wouldn't recommend to pay for posts. If you have the budget and you want to invest a little bit on it, this is a good chance for you to target a specific group, a specific region, country, or even city. It shouldn't be expensive. Sometimes if you invest maybe $10 on a post, you can really have very, very good results. Of course, larger companies invest a lot of money on that and they get other type of results. If you are looking for sales, I definitely recommend you to use Facebook ads, Twitter ads, and I think you can do that as well on Instagram. Budget, it really varies on this, depending on the size of your organization and your venture and what you are looking to achieve. But I would say that you shouldn't spend a lot on that unless you have the budget and a very, very clear strategy. But I'm very conservative on paid ads, to be honest.
Well, thank you so much, Teresa. That was a great webinar. We will be closing the webinar as of now. I wish every participant of the Caribbean Innovation Competition good luck, and to be tuned in for the next session, which will be on May 26th. And on this session, you will be able to hear and talk to one of the finalists, previous finalists of the competition. So you're going to be able to ask her about what to expect from the competition, her experience within the competition, and what happened after the competition. So that's going to be a great session for you guys to be really exposed to all the opportunities that the Reach Caribbean Innovation Competition brings. So thank you so much, Teresa. I leave the floor to you so that you can say the final words. Goodbye.
Thank you, Jose, and thank you everyone for joining for the questions. And I hope this was useful for you. As always, please feel free to reach out to YBT if you need any other guidance, and feel free to share these tools with other peers and other entrepreneurs you know. Thank you, everyone. Looking forward to meeting you all, and good luck in the finals.